Hi Oscar, what do you feel you need to do to qualify for the Olympics?
I think there's still a bit of work for me ahead in the next 2-3 months. We've had a great pre-season training so far, but there is a little bit of work before the international season starts in May, so I've got a lot of faith in my coach and maybe lose 2-3 extra kilograms and start working a little bit more on the explosivity work.
Do you feel you have an advantage in the Paralympics or maybe a disadvantage in the Olympics?
I feel like I've got an advantage mentally. I've been running for many years. As far as my prosthetic legs go, we've proved that there's no advantage using them. I think my biggest advantage is that I've got a lot of people behind me that have a lot of faith in my personal camp, my training staff, and I've been working with them for many years, so I've got a lot of surety in them to do their job.
How did you feel when you realised you had the ability to run as fast as able-bodied runners?
I grew up participating in mainstream sports, and for me it was always about being the best that I could possibly be as a kid. So naturally when I became a sprinter I wanted to be the best, and I started running in South Africa in 2004 on the able-bodied circuit as such, and when I started running against the guys my age and started beating them, I wanted to run against the more senior athletes and beat them. And that's been a goal every year. If you start winning on a county level, you want to win on a state or provincial level. If you start winning on a national level, you want to start doing better internationally. And it becomes a very addicted feeling.
What will you do to promote the Paralympics to get the same support and recognition as the Olympics?
I think one of the biggest things in the past is that many people, their first thought of Paralympic sport is that it's inspirational. Yet I believe there's so much more to the Paralympic movement. It's pretty hardcore if you see some of the performances the guys do. It's full of great success, but also huge disappointments like in any other sport. And I'm just one athlete in a phenomenal Paralympic movement that we have today. So if I can do my bit to promote my sport and talk about it like it is, we're not athletes that focus on what we don't have, but athletes that focus on what we do still have. And that makes me really proud to be part of a Paralympic movement like the one that we have coming up this year.
How much have you learnt from running in the World Champions?
Yeah, it's pretty good question. I learned quite a bit in this last season in 2011 from the IWF World Championships. So it was a very big competition. It was a multi-event 400-meter competition. Running internationally is always a lot more pressure than running domestically, but I believe where there's more pressure, there's a lot more to be learned. So there were some things that I would have changed with the pacing of my races depending on which lane I was in. I learned a lot of lessons as far as reading the races with guys of that caliber. It was obviously a very fast-paced event, especially in the semi-final. So you definitely take a lot of lessons away from an experience like that, and hopefully I can use those and implement them now in 2012.
Have you ever run in a competition as exciting as the Paralympics?
Sure, the Paralympics in Beijing was probably my most exciting memory, probably even more so in Athens because I was 17 years old. I'd never run on an international event. I think for me that was probably still the highlight, just being a youngster on an international circuit. I didn't even know the names of the guys that I was running with. That's how inexperienced I was, and I had this blonde curly hair and I had braces and I was just so amped to just get going. And I think that for me is still, excitement when you're young is an amazing thing and really propels you to do better. I wonder if I ever be that excited. I think the more I accomplish, the more nervous I get before a race and put more pressure on myself to do well. But definitely the Paralympics has been of the biggest highlights of my career so far.
If you weren't a professional athlete, what do you think you'd be doing instead?
Sure, if I wasn't a professional athlete, I've got a huge love for architecture. I'd probably be studying or practicing in that field. Design intrigues me. Industrial design is something that I really take a huge interest in. I guess just probably entrepreneurship and some sort of business would be something that I would have dabbled in. But I'm very happy with my career, and sports is something that, with a lot of hard work, is definitely something that's enjoyable. Thank you, is that it? Yeah. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Very professional.